Call the meeting to order.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press on January 9, 2015. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers, posted on public bulletin boards, and the Township website.
Thank you. At this time, please all turn off your cell phones or silence them and stand for let's have roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Here.
Councilman Fosman.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Here.
Vice President DeYoung.
Here.
President Mumolo.
Here.
Thank you.
Everyone, please rise for a moment of Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, got a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes of January 20th.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Moore, second by Councilwoman Pontorero.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our first presentation will be Chief Berquist will come up, Mayor. It'll be Sergeant Joshua Jensen. Please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we have one police promotion, but first I want to recognize a couple of people who just retired after 25 years of service. Detective Sergeant Chris Rooney and Communications Operator Stephanie Manolio Shaplinski. They both put 25 years in here, and they both did a great job. I don't think either one of them are in the audience tonight, but I'd like to give them a round of applause anyway. Our promotion tonight is Police Officer Joshua Jensen to the rank of Sergeant. Sergeant Jensen graduated from Brick Memorial High School in 1999. He has a Bachelor of Arts degree from Thomas Edison State College. In addition to numerous, and I mean numerous, letters of appreciation and commendations, Sergeant Jensen is one of only a very small few officers to have been awarded the Combat Cross. He was also presented with the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police Valor Award on June 22nd, 2011. Sergeant Jensen will be assigned as a squad supervisor in the Operations Division. And here with him tonight are his wife, Crystal, and two-year-old twins, Addison and Andrew. And why don't you all come up here?
Oh, my goodness.
I, Joshua A. Jensen. Do solemnly swear. That I will faithfully, impartially, and justly. Perform all the duties. Of the office of police sergeant. According to the best of my ability. And that I solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. And that I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the same. And to the governments. Established in the United States. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor, Council President, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Next recognition is for Audrey Lindstrom, if she's here, Councilwoman like Zapsa. Mayor, would you like to join us, please?
Several weeks ago, I read an article on the Brick Patch about a local artist who was awarded a solo show at the Art Center at Ocean County College. And I drove down on a very rainy Sunday, cold, rainy Sunday afternoon, and I'll be honest with you, Audrey, all I was thinking on the way down there was I can't wait to get home and get in my fuzzy pajamas with a cup of hot tea. But then I went in and I met Audrey and her wonderful husband, Art, and spent an absolutely delightful afternoon with them. An artist's inspiration comes from deep within, and the beauty within Audrey that she brings forth on her canvases is absolutely magnificent. Captivating portraits and breathtaking landscape scenes, some of which anyone in this room would recognize because a lot of them are local scenes, some right out her own back door, which kind of makes me a little jealous. And they're just wonderful. So it is with great pleasure that I present the resolution to Audrey on behalf of the council. Whereas Brick Township resident Audrey Lindstrom is an artist and designer who has developed and pursued her artwork since childhood. And whereas Audrey studied design and illustration at the Fashion Academy of New York and has explored many aspects of commercial and fine art. Whereas Audrey's works have been featured at galleries, banks, and restaurants, in scientific publications and advertising campaigns. Whereas Audrey also hand-painted thousands of evening gowns for New York designers, as well as robes for Christian Dior, and is art director and designer for a prominent lace company. She influenced fashion trends with her lace designs for Ralph Lauren, Jessica McClintock, Oscar de la Renta, Alfred Angelo, Priscilla Bridal, and DKNY. And whereas Audrey's paintings portray her emotional response to the beauty that surrounds us, and her canvases are filled with charming children, beautiful women in tranquil settings, woodland vistas, waterways, and ocean beaches. And whereas Audrey, a mother of three, currently has a solo show of her artwork on display at Ocean County College in the Art and Community Building. Now therefore be it resolved by the Brick Township Council of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, and State of New Jersey as follows. We join Mayor Ducey in commending Audrey for her contributions to the arts and culture in Ocean County and Brick Township. Audrey, thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone on the council for this honor and unexpected. I'd like to just say I've had a wonderful career in the arts, and I'd like to encourage any of the young people to do the same.
And your show is going on until President's Day,
Till the
correct?
11th, yes.
So I would urge anyone who has the inclination, please go down and see it. It's absolutely magnificent.
For all the reasons that Councilwoman Zapsik put forward, wait, don't leave, don't leave. And for all the reasons that Councilwoman Zapsik put forward, as well as for being an inspiration for all of our young children out there, that they can have a career in the arts. I, as John G. Ducey, as mayor of the Township of Brick in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, in recognition of all of your contributions to the arts and culture, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, February 4th, 2015, to be Audrey Lindstrom Day. Congratulations.
Mayor, we have some recipient checks from CDBG.
Thank you. Mr. President. Every year, we have the privilege to support local organizations that do so much to improve our lives and the lives of all of those in our communities through our CDBG program. The funds come from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Community Development Block Grant. That's what CDBG stands for. And with the help of Irvin Oros, we do distribute the funds that we receive to all of the great organizations. There are some, we actually don't get enough funding, of course, there's never enough funding, so there are some organizations that have to unfortunately be denied, and others that we have to, they make a request for a certain amount and we're not able to fund the entire request. But we are proud to give tonight $41,236 in total to the groups. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce each of the organizations and present them with their checks, and then have them say a little bit about what their organization does for our great community. So first up, I'd like to bring up the Jersey Shore Boy Scouts, and Pina is here. This is one of the largest youth-serving organizations in New Jersey, and this funding will help provide scholarships for low to moderate income kids in Brick to help them attend summer camps. And tonight, we present them with $1,000.
Good evening, everybody. I'm a little disadvantaged. I didn't know who was speaking. But on behalf of the Jersey Shore Council Boy Scouts, we thank you very much for this grant. We serve over 6,000 youth every year, and we have over 2,000 volunteers who help serve those youth, and every little bit counts. Thank you very much.
Now I'd like to invite the Church of the Visitation's lunch program, Marilyn is here, to come up. This program provides free lunches, and we are proud to present them with $1,236.
I am thrilled to receive this check. This is more than I could imagine. Up here, I have a couple volunteers, because without the volunteers, we would have no program. We are going on our 7th year, and it was through the vision of two people, a married couple, Frank and Isabel Chronics, that saw the need to bring the community together for friendship, food, and faith. We have our program divided into two parts: the kitchen, that would be me, and the floor. And the people on the floor decorate, set the tables. We have drawings of various donations that come in. We celebrate birthdays and anniversaries of the month. However, the soup kitchen, but we like to call it community lunch, is only the third Wednesday of every month from 12 to 1. It's only one shot deal per month. But I invite anyone to come over and enjoy a hot meal, like 4 courses, on that third Wednesday. These volunteers are there every single month: Chris, Gloria, and Rose. And I appreciate them, I think, more than anybody, because I don't have to worry when I'm in the kitchen. I know they're doing the right thing. So we want to serve the public, improve the program, and feed the spirit. Thank you so much.
I'd like to invite Sue from Big Brothers Big Sisters to come up. Tonight we present them with $1,000 check. This will help offset the cost for them to start a mentoring program in the Brick Township elementary schools.
First off, I want to thank everyone, and I want to thank the Township of Brick and the mayor for his continued support of our services over the many, many years that we've been here. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a youth-serving mentoring program, and we provide professionally trained mentors for children who are facing adversity from the ages of 5 to 17. Right now in Ocean County, we service over 600 kids, and in Bricktown, we service 125. But we have 50 kids in Brick that are still waiting to be matched with a mentor. We provide services in the community, and we also partner with Dottie's House, as our goal is to also break that cycle of domestic violence with the kids that we serve. This money is definitely used to support our mentoring program, and we truly, truly appreciate it. But I want to share with you two things about Big Brothers Big Sisters. One is we change children's lives for the better forever, putting a mentor into that child's life. Also, all of the kids who go to Big Brothers Big Sisters who reach the age of 17, every one of our kids has graduated high school, and they've gone to college or to a vocational school. So that's a significant impact that mentor has had on that child's life. And none of our kids have entered up into a juvenile justice system. So they've overcome their adversities because of their mentors. And I want to thank you again, always, for your support of our agency. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Laura from the ARC of Ocean County. The ARC is an outstanding organization that supports people with developmental disabilities and also their families. And tonight, we are presenting them with $1,500.
Good evening. I'm thrilled to accept $1,500 from the Township of Brick. I really appreciate the support the Township has always provided the ARC. We're celebrating 65 years this year of service in Ocean County as a chapter of the ARC, and our relationship with Brick and the people we support. This money will help benefit kids that have graduated from the Brick High School who are now working towards job development and employment skills. So we're very excited to have this funds. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite down Councilwoman Mariana Ponterero, who's a board member. This is for Oceans Harbor House. Oceans Harbor House provides a variety of services to vulnerable youths, and tonight we are giving them $1,500.
I'm so honored and thrilled to be a part of a community that sees the value in giving back to our most vulnerable citizens, which are our children. Harbor House takes in homeless and abused youth who have nowhere else to go, provides them with counseling, mentoring, and also a place to go and a place to be safe, which some of us take for granted for our own children, but many children, even in Ocean County, don't have. I can assure each and every one of you that this $1,500 will benefit the children in our community and throughout the communities in our state of New Jersey. And I thank the mayor so much for supporting this program. I am the first vice president of the board of directors of Harbor House, and I'm honored to be a part of that, and I'm even more honored to be a part of a community that recognizes the importance of giving back. Thank you so much.
Next up is Marion from the Interfaith Hospitality Network. They work to assist people who face becoming homeless. Marion, tonight we are proudly giving your organization $3,000.
Thank you all for your generosity and support. I am a volunteer at Interfaith Hospitality Network. We are a group of 13 churches, all volunteers, and we provide lodging, meals, any kind of assistance that they may need. Financial counseling, we provide backpacks for the kids to go to school in September. Anything that they possibly need, we try to provide them. Christmas gifts, we have wish lists. This money, again, I am so thrilled. Thank you very much. But on behalf of all of our families, and that is the key word, they have to be families, and they are homeless children. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Casey and Lisa of Dottie's House. Dottie's House is well known for their work on behalf of victims of domestic violence, and tonight we are giving them $3,500.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so honored to be here tonight, and just want to thank everyone on behalf of the women and children of Dottie's House. I want to thank the mayor, the council, and everyone here at Brick Township who has made this grant possible for our families. Dottie's House is an organization that is a transitional housing facility for survivors, women and children of domestic violence. And we strive not only to put a roof over their head and help them break the cycle and get out of dangerous situations, but more so to actually have the resources and the tools that they need to become self-sufficient emotionally and financially, to start their lives over in a healthy way. So thank you so much.
Next is Ocean County Hunger Relief, and they don't have a representative here today, so I have a quick little summary. Ocean County Hunger Relief is making a difference through its work ensuring that people who are in desperate need of emergency food assistance and supplied with emergency food packages are greeted with compassion, and they are also greeted with compassion by more than 300 volunteers. Nonprofit organizations like Ocean County Hunger Relief increase the quality of life for everyone in our community, and I thank them for their hard work and dedication to meeting the needs of our community, and they will be receiving $4,000. Next, I'd ask for Jim from Meals on Wheels to come up. Meals on Wheels provides nutritious meals to homebound seniors, and we are proud to give them $9,500.
I usually start out by saying, how long do I have to talk? My voice isn't really too good. I apologize. I have a slight cold. But what I want to say is that last year we served over 26,000 meals. We provided services to 352 Brick Township residents at a cost of $347,000. This $9,500 check not only represents, as Councilwoman so eloquently stated, a community that is so eager and willing to give back, but it represents the generous heart of an outstanding mayor and a town council whose heart is here to serve its people. And they've proven that through their first term, and I believe that they'll continue to prove that to the residents of Brick Township. I would also like to especially thank Council President Mumolo, who, even though he's a very busy man from time to time, has found the time to come and to volunteer for our program and to assist the seniors who receive the services at the Brick Township nutrition site. Without a mayor and a town council to support our program, to provide the transportation that's necessary to bring hundreds of people to that site every single year to receive nutrition and socialization, your residents would be home alone, they would be isolated, they would be depressed, they would be lonely, and ultimately the taxpayers would bear the cost of that. So this township, 15 years ago, I stood in this room. Do I have 2 more minutes? 15 years ago, I stood in this room, and I'm going to wax a little nostalgic, but I received the very first check of $15,000 from my very good friend, and a man who I know loved this township, but loved the seniors of this township, Mayor Scarpelli. And we had a waiting list in Brick Township at the time. Brick Township's commitment to our program at this time in the year 2000 was already substantial. They were already providing the transportation services for their residents to come to the senior center and to our nutrition program, which saves my program $70,000 to $90,000 a year. Okay, without the support of that service, we would not be able to do what we can do for the township residents here in Bricktown. But the mayor came to us, and Mayor Scarpelli said, what else can we do? We know you've got people waiting for services. And we basically said, Mayor, we need another route. He said, how much do you need? We said, we need $15,000. And his commitment to this program, as long as he was in office, was firm. So I want to thank the mayor again and the town council for reaffirming their commitment to our program and to the needs of the seniors. And I'm also proud to say we do not have any residents of Brick Township waiting for meals. We have a very small waiting list in certain parts of this county, but not here in Brick Township. And it's partially due to the commitment, financial commitment, that this administration has made to making sure that our program will have the resources to feed its seniors. So look at these faces and remember these names, because these are people who not only make a difference in your lives every single day, but they help me make a difference in your lives every single day. So thank you.
Finally, I'd ask Dave and Susan to come up from Northern Ocean Habitat for Humanity. Tonight, we are presenting them with $15,000 to help them with their A Brush of Kindness program that will restore homes to Brick Township. Thank you very much.
Good evening. On behalf of Northern Ocean Habitat for Humanity, we are so grateful to the mayor and to the council here for helping us to provide services, housing services to low-income families in Bricktown. We actually did 9 homes in Bricktown, and we've been rebuilding with Sandy, post-Sandy, as well as doing this Brush with Kindness program. The average age of the families that we've helped is 72 years old, so my heart is with you with all of this. They are trying to stay in their homes. There's a whole aging going on now where homeowners want to stay in their homes and they want to age well in their homes. But they can't do it if they're challenged with all the costs that it takes to pay their utilities, to pay their food, and then they're mounting medical bills. And then if something goes wrong on their home, they have the need for people to step up. And if it's something like a repair to a roof, or there's mold, or there's other issues, they're struggling. And the cost that it takes for them to then go pay that bill, in addition to keeping up with their regular bills, the math just doesn't work. So our Brush with Kindness program is giving these families, and especially a lot of the seniors here in Brick, the opportunity to have a better quality of life, to live dignified, and to feel good about every day. So on behalf of Northern Ocean, thank you so very much. We're going to continue the work we're doing, and we can continue to do a lot more with this help. So thank you, thank you.
As president of Northern Ocean Habitat for Humanity, I wanted to personally thank the mayor and council for their vote of confidence in Habitat. And I just want to be really short with this statement, that Northern Ocean Habitat for Humanity is here for Brick Township. We want simple, decent, affordable housing for everyone in Brick and everyone in Ocean County. So we're here for you, to serve you. And thank you once again.
And just one final round of applause, not only for these organizations that are here that do so much for our community, but all of our volunteer organizations and all of our citizens and residents that volunteer for the organizations in helping each other here in Brick. So thank you, everybody.
We'll move on to the consent agenda.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. Would any council members like anything removed? Seeing none, I'll continue. 4-1 is to recognize Audrey Lindstrom. Congratulations. Thank you. 4-2 is authorize receipt of bids for Summerfest food vendors. As you know, we have really exciting plans for the community this year. This will authorize our purchasing department to go out for bids for Summerfest food vendors. We generated revenue last year of $6,691.27. Resolution 4-3 is authorized receipt of bids, beer and wine garden concession. Last year was our first year with the beer and wine concession. It was a nice addition to the event. We may make minor modifications to its location this year, moving it closer to the food area. We generated revenue from the beer and wine garden concession, which was used to offset the cost of the event. Last year, the township brought in $20,225 for this beer and wine concession. We will have this at all Summerfest concert, Bricktoberfest, and the car show. Resolution 4.4 is authorized receipt of bids food truck concession. Last year was our first hosting of Bricktoberfest, and we had food trucks who were a big hit there. We're going to make changes to the event this year based on the feedback, such as wristbands for rides, which will keep the cost down. Also, we're looking at last year our concession only brought in $200. This year we're looking to setting a limit of $1,500 minimum, and feel we should easily recoup that, and then have a 15 truck minimum or to a 25 truck maximum, so that we can make sure we have good variety of food and treats for everyone on that day. Resolution 4.5, authorizing receipt of bids, amusement vendor for Bricktoberfest. As I just mentioned, the rides were a little pricey last year. I did bring my grandchildren. It did cost a small fortune. So what we're going to do is work on a wristband to keep the cost down, to make it palatable for everyone. Last year, the bid for the concession brought in $500. Resolution 4.6. This is to authorize receipt of bids for an ATM vendor. Last year, we brought in an ATM machine just to free up cash for people that needed cash for food or the rides. Last year, that bid brought in $25. We feel we could do better, but we're not sure how that pans out. Resolution 4.7 is authorized receipt of bids to purchase and delivery of 3 single-axle dump trucks. I'd like to ask Councilman Fosman to elaborate on that, please.
All right, thank you, Council President. They went out, they're not at the co-op, so we're going to have to go out to bid for these 3 trucks, and this is on the 2014 capital budget. Thank you.
Thank you. 4.8, Resolution 4.8 is authorized bids to purchase and delivery of 2 tandem trucks. I'd like Councilman Fosman, please.
Thank you, Council President. It's the same thing, we're going out to bid. They're not in the co-op, and it's from the 2014 budget.
Thank you. Resolution 4.9, authorize award contract entertainment and production services for Summerfest 2015. I'd like to ask our mayor to elaborate on that, please.
Thank you. Yes, we're asking the council if they could approve LaGuardia Entertainment. The reason why they're important, they have a lot of contacts with bands throughout the state of New Jersey, but in addition to that, what they provide to us is the sound system and the lights, which are very important, because if we tried to, my idea originally was maybe we go out and we can obtain our own bands, but then we have to come up with our own sound guy, our own light guy, and obviously we want all that professionally done as well, and this is the way we can get it done in the least expensive manner. And I just want to let everybody know that our Summerfest is going to be every Thursday in July. So it's July 2nd is going to be the Amish Outlaws. July 9th is the Bronx Wanderers. July 16th, the Infernos. July 23rd, the Time Machine. And July 30th is our car show. So the entire month of July is now Summerfest. We did have some comments last year. You know, we don't really know which Thursdays it's going to be, because you do it one Thursday, then you skip 2, then you have it on the next Thursday. So now everybody knows every Thursday in July, straight through, will be either a concert firework event, or the last one's obviously the car show. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 410 is authorized bid, purchase and delivery of aggregates and asphalt. This is a 2-year contract awarded to 8 vendors who submitted proposals to provide these materials as needed to our Department of Public Works. They are Trap Rock Industries, Kingston, New Jersey; Stavola, Tinton Falls, New Jersey; RWV Land and Livestock, Jackson, New Jersey; Brickwall Corp., Belford, New Jersey; Walter R. Earl Corp., Farmingdale, New Jersey; Central Jersey Hot Mix Asphalt, Jackson, New Jersey. Environmental Infrastructure Solutions, Toms River, New Jersey. Eastern Concrete Materials, Elmwood Park, New Jersey. This is a unit bid price not to exceed $500,000 per year. Resolution 411, authorize award of bid spring repair on truck, bus, trailer, and equipment. This is a 2-year contract awarded to R&H Spring of Wall, New Jersey, with a labor rate of $75 per hour and a 30% discount on parts. The contract will not exceed $50,000 per year and will service DPW equipment and vehicles. Resolution 412, authorize request for a 6-month extension, pedestrian improvements, Midstream Road and Lanes Mill Road. I'd like to ask the mayor if he'd like to elaborate on that one as well.
Yes, thank you. In conjunction, I spoke last week about the trying to make things safer for people to be able to walk around our town, about the crosswalks and the do not walk and walk signs at the intersection of Route 70 and Chambers Bridge being added to our repertoire here in the town. But this is one of the safe things for kids to get to school. It's midstreams, obviously, to get the midstream school, Lanes Mill for all the kids going to Brick Memorial. This $450,000 grant is to facilitate the construction of sidewalks on both of those roads so kids can safely get to the schools rather than have to walk out into the street. And this is just asking for a 6-month extension because the prices for the sidewalks came out a little bit higher, and we needed to have an extension and a time to get the bids. And also, I want to remind everybody, please shovel your sidewalks in those areas. We had a number of complaints about Lanes Mill Road. The kids have to walk out into the street because people haven't shoveled, and I know, we have authorized code enforcement to go out to those properties and issue the appropriate summonses. So, but this will make the routes safer for kids to get to school.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 413, authorize execution of shared service agreement with the County of Ocean for operation of pump-out boats. The township has 2 pump-out boats through this agreement, the Bay Saver and the Bay Defender. We participate in the agreement and ensure the quality of our waters in Barnegat Bay and the county to service the discharge of these boats out on the water. In this agreement, the township agrees to operate and maintain the boats, and the county contributes $20,000 for the operation and maintenance of the 2 vessels. It's a very successful program. To date, 1,172,700 gallons has been removed from 58,400 vessels that would have been, that could have been discharged directly into Barnegat Bay. Resolution 414, authorize execution of the right-of-way entry agreement with the Ocean County Mosquito Extermination Commission to enter upon township land. The Mosquito Commission is in a process of organizing a water management project in Brick Township and Manalocan Road and Alameda Drive, along the salt marshes and the deforested edge, also known as Knoll Crest Avenue. This is being done to eliminate areas that breed mosquitoes. Over the years, many of the ditches that allow proper tidal flow throughout the salt marshes have deteriorated to the point of zero tidal flow, except on extreme tides, such as Sandy, which we don't want to see again. What they'll do is come in and redig these trenches out to allow the tidal flow to come in to allow not for water to be stagnant. 415, Resolution 415, authorize special event permits, Battle of the Bands. The Brick Elks have a Battle of the Bands event planned for February 8th at the Brick Elk Lodge on Hooper Avenue. The event will be held from 4 to 9 p.m. Resolution 416, authorize participation, County of Ocean CDBG Citizen Participation Plan. Did I say that right, CD?
You did.
Okay. Brick Township receives community development block grants funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. The Township Public Service grants recipients receive their funding early in the agenda. As is part of our agreement with HUD, the Township is required to file an annual action plan and 5-year consolidated plan to HUD, with the Township planner, Michael Fowler, is coordinating. The township held a public hearing on January 29th and took public comments at that time. Comments are welcome to be submitted to Mr. Fowler by March 15th. Resolution 417, these are bond performance reductions. We have a performance, 417A is a performance bond release. Kettle Creek Drive, a cash performance bond of $12,500 will return to the applicant. 417B, performance bond relief, Sunset Lane North, a cash performance bond, the amount of $5,000 will be returned to the applicant. 417C, an inspection fund release to Hess Corporation, Route 88, engineering inspection fund in the amount of $12,074 will be returned to the applicant. 417D, an inspection fund release to Tahashi LLC, Hooper Avenue, engineering inspection fund in the amount of $1,982.48 to return to the applicant, otherwise known as Tenali Wines. Hope I got that right. 417E, inspection fund release, QSR Development, Beaverson Boulevard, engineering inspection fund in the amount of $1,235.37 to be refunded to the applicant, otherwise known as Dunkin' Donuts. 417F, inspection fund release, New Singular Wireless, Manaloking Road, engineering inspection fee in the amount of $100.03 to be returned. Resolution 417G, inspection fund release, public equipment rental, Drum Point Arms, Brick Boulevard, engineering inspection fee, the amount of $358.45 to be returned to the applicant. Resolution 417H, inspection fund release, Liz Construction, Baltic Avenue, engineering inspection fee in the amount of $374.01 to be returned to the applicant. And Resolution 417I, inspection fund release, Cedar Bridge Gas Mart, Brick Boulevard, engineering inspection fee, the amount of $115.04 to return to the applicant. Resolution 418, tax collector, 4-18A is a 100% DAV refund and canceled taxes, gauge, in the total fund of $1,932.32 to Angela, residing at 954 Columbus Drive. Resolution 418B, veterans deduction granted, a refund amount of $250 to 1 Mid Park Drive. We have 418C, a tax overpayment for 2014 for $1,514.13 to 234 20th Avenue. We have 418D, tax overpayment due to state tax appeal granted, Three Amigos LLC in the amount of $27,792.19 for properties located at 419 Jack Martin Boulevard. Resolution 418E, exempt property, cancel additional taxes. United States of America, blocks 195, lots 2 and lots 21. These are properties located in Adamston Road, and the balance of uncollected taxes is $27.45 for block 195, lot 2, and $60.30 for block 195, lot 1. End of our consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pomperero, second by Councilman Fosman. That was close.
Not that close.
I'd like to open to the public on questions on any of the resolutions. Sir?
I'd like to ask questions on, just for clarification, on 4.2, you said this was for the Summerfest food vendors, where we got 6,691. I looked at some of the proposals, and it only had 4 dates, but the mayor mentioned a 5th date. Is this going to include the 5th date, or are they just bidding for 4 dates?
I believe that. Well, Mary?
The food's only at the 4 dates. The beer and wine tent's at the car show, which is the 5th date.
No, the 4 Summerfest concerts.
What did I say? I'm sorry. The food's at the 4.
Right.
That's what, is that what I said?
Yeah.
Yes.
The food's at the 4 concerts and the fireworks, which is the 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd. And then the 30th is our car show. There's no food at the car show.
Okay. And the beer and wine is for 6? Okay. 4. You kind of answered my question, but I just want to clarify. We lost a lot of money on Bricktoberfest last year. And you said $1,500, that's minimum per truck?
What we're
Looking
doing,
at-
that's going to be the minimum bid. Our business administrator will probably. Joanne, would you like to?
Hi, Mr. Scott.
Hi.
That is the minimum bid for the vendor who will provide the trucks.
Oh, a total of $1,500.
Correct. They weren't individual contracts with individual vendors. It was a vendor who provided all of the trucks that were at that event.
Okay, so, again, going to the money. Councilperson said there were going to be at least 15 trucks, maybe 25. So it only gets down to $100 per truck. Again, I'm asking because, as you know, when I asked you, we lost way over $13,000 on this little affair last year.
Well, we're doing, there's a variety of strategies that we're implementing for this year. That was our first year. So, of course, we're taking a lot of chances and trying things to see how they work. So we've had that experience. We are going to be making some staffing changes. So we don't necessarily feel we need to have as much staff as we had at last year's event. And we're also looking to increase revenue generated from the different vendors, whether it be the food or the concession or the ATM. So we're looking at it, and we're going to have live entertainment, which we didn't have last year, and that should bring more people in, and some other activities for some of the older folks as well. So we're doing several things this year that we didn't do last year, and we're doing things differently because we would like for this to generate revenue for us and not the opposite.
Okay. The explanation for 412, looking for this extension, would just a price change as far as the concrete, how much time did we have to submit this? I'm just trying to figure this out, that we need a 6-month, when it must have had some kind of a time frame to be completed by.
Yeah, we've been working with the DOT. This is for the Safe Routes to School grant.
Right,
We
yes.
have been working closely, Alyssa and Tara and myself and our engineer CME have been working closely with the DOT. We wanted to be sure that we were presenting a project that we could implement within the budget amount. We didn't want to exceed the budget amount. So that entailed us taking a close look at the project. We wanted to be sure we did both schools. We didn't want to have to pick one or the other. So the goal was to present them with a project that we could do within the budget. And we have since been able to accomplish that. That's why we need the extension.
Okay, maybe I didn't get my question across clear enough. I like the fact that we're going to get $450,000, but my question is, again, we used an outside firm, evidently from what you just said. Why didn't we do it within the constraints of time to jeopardize this $450,000?
We put in
$450,000
Right.
for us is a lot of money.
The grant that we put in was for more than $450,000. We did a proposed design and cost estimates for a proposed project. When they came back and said, we're going to fund you $450,000, then we had, rather than go forward and have to add money to the pot, we took a look at the scope to make sure we could impact both schools, but to do that within the budget.
Okay. And 416, this one was about housing and whatnot, for an annual plan and a 5-year plan. Where did I miss that there was going to be a hearing on the 29th? And who ran this hearing for the public? I'm just curious. I know Mr. Reed had asked a question about, people not being able to find rental places, as a result of Sandy and whatnot. Can you just enlighten
Well,
me?
that's still open. I believe Mr. Fowler
Yes, the hearing was advertised. We had to take out a legal notice, which we did, and we also posted it on the township's website, which we did that also. The meeting was chaired by Michael Fowler, myself, and Irvin Oros, who is our CDBG consultant. There were 3 folks that did attend and give their comments on how they felt we should spend the money. That will be incorporated into the minutes from those meetings, from the hearing, and forwarded on to the county. And as Council President Mumolo said, we're still accepting written comments on people's thoughts on that, which they can provide us to be included in what we submit to the county.
Until March 15th.
Say again?
You could have the comments till March 15th, so you have up to.
Okay, but no other hearings as far as Brick is concerned, just written comments?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll ask for a, motion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
419 is our computer bill resolution 2015.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $19,719,049.67.
Thank you. Anyone from the council have any questions? Seeing no questions, I'd like to get a motion and a
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosden, second by Councilwoman Vice President DeYoung. Open to the public. Seeing no questions, close to the public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Abstain on New Jersey press media, and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Abstain on the MEWA and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
420, the manual bill resolution 2015.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,463,919.23.
Thank you. Open to the council. Any questions? No questions. Motion, can I get a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Zapsik and second by Vice President DeYoung. Open to the public. Any questions on the manual bill resolution? Seeing no questions, closed to the public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Abstain township payroll, and yes to the rest?
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero, sorry.
Yes. Don't be sorry about that.
Vice President DeYoung. Vice
Yes.
President
Change the order.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 5 are ordinances on second reading, which will have comment for the, we'll have public comment on these. 5.1 is amend the Metedeconk Village redevelopment plan.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Metedeconk Village redevelopment plan.
Mayor, would you like to speak on this one?
Sure, thank you. Metedeconk Village is the Foodtown property, in case people don't know what that is. This is the ordinance on the second reading. Last meeting, we had it on first reading, and then it had to go to the planning board for their approval, which was approved last night unanimously. And what this does, the amendment will take out residential, so that residential cannot be built upon the Foodtown site or the Metedeconk Village site. So that's basically what this ordinance is doing, is taking out the residential component that was allowed under the former agreement, and something we don't want to see is residential on that piece of property. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. I got a motion and a second, please.
Make a motion?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Moore, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Open to public on this ordinance. Sir?
sell Maple Leaf Park. I just want to know why you don't want to open the residential. That's all. What was the reasoning?
There's a lot of traffic in that area. We have a lot of people living in town, so you know, adding more residential is not something we want to do with a piece of property that the township owns and has control over.
But you'll add commercial?
Residential is what was removed. Yes, residential was removed.
But it's removed because of traffic and all that, but you'll add commercial, which there's no traffic with commercial.
I'm not sure. Are you quizzing me? Is there traffic with commercial? Of course.
I'm serious as a heart attack. Yeah. I mean, you said there's no residential. You gave me the reason, but I'm thinking, well, if there's commercial, could be more traffic or as much traffic. So I just like to know. I'm not really trying to be a wise guy. I'm just saying. You put out a statement saying no residential, but you didn't say why, so I'm asking you why. Now, when you've told me why, I'm saying, if you don't like residential, but you're open to commercial, which one's more detrimental to?
Residential, if there's residential, it's not an easy area to walk around. It's not like a neighborhood. So the wetlands is protected behind it too. That's owned by the state. Forge Pond is owned by the state. It's more conducive for commercial than it is for residential. Just for access, there's going to be obviously traffic when you have commercial stuff. But when you have residential, it's not an easy area just to walk. You can't really walk out of there. You got the major highway, and then you have Forge Pond.
Has there been a desire for anybody to put residential in there?
Was there a desire?
Yeah. Has anybody tried to build or anything, or a request to put residential in there?
The former redeveloper, who we terminated in September, proposed 192 condominiums on that piece of land, which would add to our school system, add to our overall cost of infrastructure, probably have to increase with the police department, increase DPW runs, trucks for, I mean, it's just, the costs are astronomical when you add a development like that.
All right. I mean, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Ma'am?
Good evening. Ann Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. And since I've been attending these council meetings for many years now, and was here with the previous developer and before the previous developer, and when he owned it and then sold it back to the town for a huge profit, I'd like to supplement the information on why no resident. I don't know if everybody is familiar with the property behind the post office, which I believe is now known as Horizons or New Horizons, and for how long that went on, and a battle, and the question of the residents that were going to be living there, getting into their complex, getting out of their complex, and what have you. And the fact that Route 70 is a county road, state road, not even a county, and the to-do, and the fact that, unlike where I moved from, there is no square grids in Brick. There are no parallel roads in Brick. It is very difficult. There is residents there, and one of the things the people of Brick had clamored for years, and was thwarted in several different ways over the years, about several different locations, is the need for a community center, for our own ability to have senior activities right within the heart of the township. Since this strip down here was designated downtown a couple of years ago by the master plan for Brick, we didn't want, and the state was going to have a problem, and the county, about putting in roadways and connecting. It was going to be a nightmare. So the answer was that we wanted, and we had 3 different proposals for not a huge hotel, but a Marriott residence type or courtyard. I remember Marriott Courtyard coming in, and that was what we, the citizens, wanted, where there would be conference rooms available, that hopefully we would get some businesses in that would hold conferences. and make money for us. So I hope that adds a little bit more light on it. If you weren't here for all those meetings and all that went on and the nonsense that went on with the previous developer, you don't understand the whole picture.
Thank you. Sir?
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. First, I want to say good call on the no residential usage, because that's Route 70 is a mess anyway. And I think that if we had residential usage there, the amount of units put in there would create hundreds of more vehicles added to the road. So that's a good idea. I did have one question. Does anybody have any idea when we're going to be able to put the Fairtown site up for bid again, and when we can expect to have a developer to begin usage on that? Does anybody have any idea?
We'll ask our township attorney, because we're in litigation at this point.
All I can say is it's in litigation with the, I'll call him former developer, to terminate that contract. So until that's resolved, the answer is no.
Yeah, okay, so that's nothing that's the township's fault then. Okay, and one thing I'd like to ask is, I had a big problem with, my biggest problem with the way that the development was done last time with the former councils is that we made an agreement with the developer. Now, I don't know too much about real estate. I've only bought one condo in my life, but so I know commercial's probably different, but, so, you know, we have a township attorney here, but we made a deal with the developer, but we did not transfer ownership. So that means that they had no incentive really to build on it. It just sat there unused. Is there any way that in the future, well, like I said, Mr. Stark, I mean, not Mr. Stark, Mr. Kennelly? I'm sorry, you look like Mr. Starkey, so. I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean that as just, well, you know. But plus I'm turning 54 tomorrow, so I'm not as mentally sharp as I used to be. Some people say I never was, but anyway, is there some way that if we do make a deal with the developer, an agreement with them, can we transfer ownership at that point, or is it different with commercial and township ownership? That way, my point of view is, I don't really, other people might disagree, but I don't care how long the Town site sat empty, as long as the township was generating that property tax on it. Because it sat there. Not only Mayor Ducey was in the newspaper about, I think it was $300,000 or $400,000 a year that we're paying some kind of a...
$465,000 a year.
Yeah, and that's bad enough, but also we're losing out on tax revenue from that site also. That entire time it was there. So from the standpoint of the developer, he's got no incentive to really, I hope I'm not saying anything that's going to get me drawn in from
Mr.
a suit.
Foster, this is not really, this is getting away from the ordinance.
Yeah, but,
I
yeah,
understand
no,
where
but
you're
I'm
going.
just saying that my point is that if the site is at least generating township revenue for the township, then personally, in my opinion, I don't think there'd be as much, well, I would not care, I hate to put it this way, if it just sat there empty the way it is now, because we'd be getting money put into the budget. So the point, what I'm asking is, if we do make a deal with the developer, is there any way that we can transfer ownership so that they're forced to pay taxes on the site?
You can answer if you want. That's really nothing to do with the ordinance, but
It's
go ahead.
not directly on point to the ordinance, but the answer is this administration obviously inherited that contract and has taken steps to terminate that contract and are looking to do that. Your point is very well taken. If we do go out with another developer, I think the type of thing you're outlining will be something that would be part of that negotiation.
Okay, because that's
Yes.
the big, that's
Yes,
the biggest.
it's a valid concern to have it not have an incentive for the developer to act if he's not incurring.
Yeah,
carrying
because
costs.
that's the point I'm trying to make, is that, you know, simply from the way that, you know, I just wanted to make sure that we get, you know, there's an incentive for him to do something with the site, rather than just sit there and he has no one has any incentive. He's not, just doesn't have ownership, he doesn't have to pay taxes. There's no pocket expenses for him to motivate anybody to do anything. I'm surprised he even knocked down the buildings and cleaned up the property, to be honest with you, but, you know, that's just, thank you for that opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Anyone else from the public on the ordinance? Sir?
Okay, so we're going to try to change part of the redevelopment plan. And what the attorney had mentioned was and you had said that we are in litigation with this termination that we sent out in September. I do care how long it's been empty, and it's what we originally paid plus the bonding on it, so the $6 million that we got wound up costing us because of financing and borrowing. We're into this for well over $10.5 million. So what we're doing here is relevant. My question is, again, with the time dragging out and the way this ordinance reads, I just want to make sure our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. It says that after you are going to vote on this tonight, it had to be following the receipt of the planning board's report containing their findings. So the meeting was last night. Do we have this report in hand, and have you read it as to what the recommendations were by the planning board?
There were no changes to the ordinance from the planning board.
Okay. It says that they had to give you a report. My question is, did they give you a report?
I don't know if we received a report. What's that?
Right.
Yeah, it was,
Does that suffice, Mr. Keneally? Is it going to, cover what we needed to cover? Because you know where it's going to wind up.
it was a unanimous decision on the
Yes.
planning board.
The zoning ordinance process is, as the other ordinances on this, you do first reading by the council. The second reading, it goes to the planning board for their review and recommendations, which is customarily a vote to recommend approval, or they can comment and suggest changes. But if they voted to recommend approval, that is adequate for purposes of how you adopt the land use ordinance.
Okay. Further along those lines then, the fact that we have a redevelopment plan signed with somebody that we're trying to dissolve, are we on safe ground then to move ahead with this due to the fact that we don't have a resolution to the termination of the agreement that was in effect?
I would say our firm is not handling the termination litigation, and I wouldn't directly give you my opinion on that issue, even if we were. It's obviously, it's in litigation, and obviously this is something they will throw in the mix. But
And I understand what you're saying.
we're taking what we believe are appropriate steps, and this is one of them. But obviously, the case is in litigation to terminate that contract.
Okay, and that's what I'm worried about, is just dragging out and costing us a small fortune and legal fees. We're moving forward, but yet we haven't covered our bases from what we've already done in the past. Correct?
I don't think this in any way, the past is the past, it is what it is, so the contract will be litigated, but this is an attempt to start things going forward as this mayor and council want to do things.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sir?
Larry Reed, 475 Normandy Drive. I think it's a good idea not to have residential there for the following reasons. You have a lot of properties that are going to be coming on as residential. You have the big development behind ShopRite that you mentioned. You have the other property that was between Brick Boulevard and Old Hooper that was approved this past year. So you're going to add a lot of residential properties to the town, and you have a lot of vacant homes already. As you noticed at the last council meeting, you had a property that the Police and Firemen's Fund took over. That was on the books for about $260,000 value. Nice house on a cul-de-sac. The fund took it over for about $137,000. So you've got a lot of residential properties in town. You don't need more. The schools are full. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing that, I'd like roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ponterero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution, ordinance 5-2, amending the Metedeconk Village redevelopment plan mixed-use overlay zone, section 245-298.1.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code, Section 245-298.1.
Thank you. This is basically just taking the mixed use, what we just discussed and voted on. I'd like to have a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontarero, second by Vice President DeYoung. Getting used to that now. Open to the public. See.
Again, just need an explanation. So
Sure.
looking at this, it's the same block and the same lot, so we're talking about the same food town
Right, the 7
site. Okay. And changing the MU zone, how is this changing? Just by deleting the residential part again? Is that what you're saying?
Our attorney answer that, but yes.
That's correct. This property is both subject to a redevelopment plan because it's designated an area of need of redevelopment, which included in the redevelopment ordinance a residential component as a use that could occur on that. It's also in the land use ordinance, if you go by like our zoning map, there are a number of properties on the zoning map that are within what's called a mixed use overlay zone, which permits mixed use. So you have a commercial, residential. The property that people were just discussing behind the post office is a mixed use overlay zone.
Right.
You have commercial with residential on top. This site is also within that overlay zone. So this ordinance takes it out of the zoning map for that purpose in terms of the mixed use overlay zone.
Okay.
It's still in
Okay.
it's otherwise, mixed-use overlay zones, you actually have properties that are technically, it's sort of two zones. So I still believe that property is either B3 or B2, which would be business, commercial zone.
Okay. So with that said, the fact that you're doing it, but you're just pinpointing these specific lots, 30 and 31, doesn't get us into a problem with pinpointing zoning, which we know is not legally accepted, that you're just trying to eliminate it for that and not for the whole MU zone. Is that not right?
No, I don't think it's an issue. It's anything subject to challenge, but no, I think the town's taking the appropriate steps.
Okay, so you don't feel that just limiting it, again, the MU zone covers, like you said, the post office all the way over to Food Town.
No, it doesn't actually cover all the way over. It covers just the post office site. I'll call it the post office site. It's actually the property behind it.
Okay,
Which the town also owned and sold.
correct.
This property, which the town owns, and I believe there's another site which is currently the subject of a proposal near the hospital that is a mixed-use overlay zone.
Correct.
But no,
So my question is, we can eliminate it in just one of the three and not have any adverse effect of the other two?
yeah, the other one is built, and yes, I don't see it as an issue. It's still in the B3 zone or B2, whatever the underlying zone is.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
5.3 is amend Chapter 245, Land Use, Building Height.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the Township Code of the Township of Brick so as to amend Chapter 245 entitled Land Use.
Thank you. This ordinance has been in work in progress from our Land Use Committee, as intended to provide consistency for the purpose of calculating building height, which includes building eave height, building mean height, and building ridge peak height. Measurements will be determined from the base reference point using either average established grade plane or from elevation 0 in NAVD 88 data. Can I have a motion and a second,
Make a
please?
motion?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosman, second by Vice President DeYoung. open to the public. Any questions on this? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
5.4, amend Chapter 245, Land Use Conditional Uses, OP, OPT zones.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the Township Code of the Township of Brick so as to amend Chapter 245 entitled Land Use.
OP and OPT, Mr. Keneally?
Thank you. This ordinance came out of some work of the Land Use Committee in reviewing the zoning map and permitted uses and prohibited uses. One of the items we looked at was the OP and OPT zone. I'll tell everyone what that is because it kind of sounds funny, but it's the office professional and office professional transitional zone. There's actually only a few of those in town. They're pretty much all developed, and what it really is office professional. So the items that fit into that are typically office, medical, or bank. There's also a funeral home, firehouse, and school. And it's kind of a transition zone between maybe a business zone and a residential. In reviewing that ordinance, and if you look at it on the map, they're kind of isolated small spots where you might have a single office building. We noticed there was a conditional use listed in there that really was not appropriate for essentially places of assembly, theaters, things of that nature, which none of these sites are really suitable for that, and they're actually pretty much all developed with existing office professional type uses or the school or the firehouse. So this simply removes the conditional use that is listed in those zones. If somebody wanted to do that, they would appropriately go to the Board of Adjustment.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontorero, second by Councilman Fosman. I'll open to the public. Any questions on that? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes. 5.5 is amend official zoning map.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the Township Code of the Township of Brick so as to amend the official zoning map of the Township of Brick.
Thank you. Planner Michael Fowler presented a new color-coded zoning map, which is in front of you now, at the last calendar, which outlines the zoning. Oh, wait, no.
The black and white was there.
Sorry. Oops. Now it's in front of you? The last zoning map was done in 1979, and although there has been many updates and amendments to the zoning, those changes have been hard to illustrate on the old black and white, which is the one lower one, obviously, that delineates zones and lines as opposed to colors. There's a significant visual benefit from having a zoning map and a colored key to illustrate the zoning. The map does not change any existing zoning. It simply makes it easier to see the zones throughout the township. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosman and second by Vice President DeYoung. I'll open to the public. Not that I can see everybody, but anyone from the public? No. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Public comments, please note that each person addressing the council during any session of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B. Who would like to be first? Sir? Did see your letter too. I didn't put it through spell check though.
I actually had it with an A in it and last minute caught it. Okay. John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. My letter. Mayor John Ducey, Council President Mumolo, and all the Brick Township Council members. I just wrote this like yesterday or the day before. I remember. It's been a busy week, obviously. So, the letter. For the last few years, the NJTA has been destroying the environment of the Garden State Parkway in Brick Township. Over the years, the Turnpike Authority's commissioners, directors, and other minions have made many excuses, advanced many false and misleading statements, and in reality have done irrefutable harm to the citizens of Brick Township, as well as all of Ocean and Atlantic County residents. NJTA cut down hundreds of thousands of trees without regard of the people that live within miles of the Garden State Parkway's borders, and thereby destroying the sleep of hundreds of residents. And in the process of this man-made disaster, they have allowed diesel trucks to pour tons of carcinogens onto the residents. Diesel trucks are not allowed near the rich communities of central and northern Jersey, but the working class citizens of Ocean and Monmouth counties are subjected to the toxins of diesel trucks every minute of every day. The town council has asked the NJTA and the county engineer to come before the Brick residents and explain how this temporary 4-year reconstruction of the entrances and exits of the parkway and the high-volume, high-speed expansion of the parkway shoulders has improved the lives of the Brick residents. But pretty much they were ignored. Citizens have begged the township to do something about this noise, fumes, and toxins from the Garden State Parkway, but they are ignored. Not the citizens, the council is ignored, and the mayor and the council seem powerless to do anything about it. Week after week, the residents are awakened from Garden State Parkway noise and fumes, and the fumes are funneled into the residential houses. The children at bus stops are impacted to the point where their lives are shortened as these toxic fumes irrefutable damage to their lungs, and this happens to adults as well, especially our senior citizens. Working class citizens do not have the finances to fight the rich and powerful NJTA, so they suffer continuously. In silence, their lungs are destroyed and illnesses increase substantially. The children are harmed as more and more children must stay home from school, and even teaching becomes more of a challenge as too many children miss many days of school because of sore throats and asthma. The residents are noticing that their colds last longer, their throats are drier, and their chest congestion never seems to end. Without the political wherewithal to petition the governor, it seems like the working class citizens will be subject to the toxic abuse brought about by the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. These citizens hope that someday the mayor and council can elicit the help of the governor in corralling the barons of the NJTA. Just quickly, some citizens were going to attend the NJTA meeting, which happens, we try to get into once in a while, in Woodbridge this past Tuesday, but because of snow, that meeting was moved back and other people were unable to attend. But there is another meeting in February. I'm sure that we're hoping that some council members and other people attend, although I'm not so sure whether it will do any good, unfortunately, because when we spoke, they only allowed 3 minutes, and twice already I've seen people yawning, and 2 others were looking away, looking at their papers while you talk. They had no interest whatsoever in helping the citizens and the working class people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sir?
Richard Gross, 29 Greenbrier Boulevard. If you all remember, the weather last night was absolutely miserable. And anybody that went out in that weather was crazy. The planning board was crazy. We convened, studied, and went over these last 5 ordinances and voted in favor of all of them. I want you people to know that the planning board works. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir? Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, sincere congratulations tonight to a young officer who was promoted to sergeant. There's a lot of preparation and a lot of work in getting that rank, so very good wishes to him and all to the nice folks who will receive those grants today. Unfortunately, I'm here to talk about Maple Leaf. There is an airborne virus in Maple Leaf, and it was brought in from Lakewood. There are a couple officials, though, who I still believe that have their heads in the sand, and they hope that a vaccination is going to cure that virus. Well, we all know that that's not going to happen. And I also think there are a couple of people, perhaps in this room, that think that because our group hasn't been here in a couple of months, that we're just going to ride off into the sunset like Roy Rogers used to do. I'm sorry to disappoint you. We're here. At the October meeting, which was in this building, the community meeting, our group presented some very solid suggestions in dealing with the rampant crime issues in Maple Leaf. Among them, a very professional and detailed presentation on a crime-free multi-housing program, a model of success all across the country and right here in the state of New Jersey. That program must be adopted. Secondly, we talked about making Maple Leaf a gated community. That will virtually eliminate the freeway of drag racing and all the outside criminal elements that enter the Herbertsville section and fly through to the Lanes Mill section. Number three, we talked about a uniform police presence in there with a multifaceted, multi-jurisdictional approach to crime prevention. Now, make no mistake about it, we're very supportive of the police department in this town, and they know that, and the chief knows that. Where we differ a little bit is having a permanent mini police station in there. So why not try something from May 1st to September 1st, either a mini station or a mobile command unit, and have the outside slumlords, the 70% that don't live in this town, charge them a user fee. Let them pay for the police personnel in Maple Leaf. Do it on a trial basis, May 1st to October 1st. Hope's Crossing in Toms River did it, as a matter of fact, several years ago. So they had some success with that. Another big component of cleaning up Maple Leaf is dealing with the quality of life issues and a consistent code enforcement presence. I am in a possession of some statistics from last year, and quite frankly, it's pretty pitiful. Only 20 spot inspections were done in Maple Leaf all of last year. 0 city ordinance summonses were issued in Maple Leaf all of last year. That's pretty disgraceful. And as Donald Trump said, you know, it's not the inspectors, it's the head of the organization, the director of that department, and he should be fired. I also turned to the city attorney for a couple of seconds. You were at the meeting, sir. Was there any research done with HUD or any of the federal housing court cases involving what's happening over in Maple Leaf? Because we know what's going on there. They're coming in and they're having Section 8 rentals in there, and there's zero accountability and zero jurisdiction. They don't do any criminal background checks as well. So has anything been done in that respect? I do find it difficult that $300,000 was spent on a camera system in that place that doesn't work. It frequently breaks down and nobody monitors it. I'd love to see the invoices of that place. What a waste, a gross waste of money of the Maple Leaf residents, the owner-occupied Maple Leaf residents, of their fees to have a $300,000 system that doesn't work. It's pretty pathetic. If I also can possibly impose on a couple of the good council people here tonight, perhaps we could rehash what happened a couple of weeks ago, not by you, though, Council President, but with a few more people here tonight, see what's happening with the committees and with the Forsman's committee, how we're trying to combine that together and, you know, catch us up to speed a little bit. But also the good work that Councilman Zaptik, you did with the mentoring program. It's a big component of having the BRIC PAL in that development as well. But you know, we do know that the warm weather is approaching, and the enemies of society are going to come out of their shadows, and they're going to start lurking around Maple Leaf. That's a fact. It's happened there for years. A very strong set of initiatives, ordinances, and a very aggressive crime plan needs to be in place before that weather breaks. And that'll send a strong message to the drug dealers and to the criminals that are going to come in that Maple Leaf is closed for business. Now, a couple of people may be a little uneasy about some of these aggressive tactics. Well, they're not aggressive. They're enforcement tactics that can be done, and I think they need to be done. And I would hope that we would all stand with us and come together, all of us, Mr. Council President.
I'm with you.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. And if I could say one last thing, perhaps maybe in 60 days, we could all have a meeting, a community meeting over, let's have it in the belly of the beast, right in Maple Leaf. Perhaps, Council President, you could arrange that, or even at the firehouse. And so we could see where we're at with that. Thank you again very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone?
Nan Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. I'm here tonight, well, I'm here as I always am. And I don't have really prepared statement. I effectively ran away from my home yesterday and have not returned yet. And I know when I do, I'm going to be extremely upset. And it's odd that somebody mentioned the planning board works. Well, most of you know that I am a legal immigrant from that great state of Brooklyn. Forget about New York. It is a state unto itself. And it is what Brick used to be. It itself, as large as it is, as dense as the population, it was a neighborhood. As people talk about Laurelton and Herbertsville being neighborhoods here, we were a neighborhood. And of course, it was a different time when I was growing up. But even when I was raising my children, and until I moved here, there were no planning boards, zoning boards to go before. You didn't get permits when you had work done. Even the people that you hired that was certified and licensed, they didn't really go get permits and have inspections. It was impossible with the density. However, I moved here and I wanted to go into an age-restricted community where I wouldn't have to did I say that right? Shovel snow. Yes, yes, that's how upset I am. Mow a lawn, do all those things, or my husband wouldn't have to do it. And I knew a little bit. We don't have these kind of communities in Brooklyn or within the confines of New York City at all. There are cooperatives, and they're a different structure. Even here, cooperatives, and there aren't too many that you actually find, apparently, in New Jersey. You do find condominiums, which also exist in New York City. I'm not in a condominium, but cooperatives, condominiums, and homeowner associations are lumped under a general definition of common interest communities. And they're run by a board of trustees. I knew moving into an established one, not everybody was going to like me. That's fine. They didn't have to stay at my house. They didn't have to have dinner with me. And if they didn't like me, I can accept that. What shocked me, and this is now my 15th year, is to find that some of the people, only a handful, but they were a handful of people who had gathered power and never let go of it. They gathered power from the moment it transitioned. And it's been 15 years that it transitioned, and 15 years I'm there. And the people were absolutely rotten to the core that gathered that power. If you doubt my words, look up the Assembly Task Force findings and recommendations issued in 1997 that never has been acted upon. And I will be contacting the council and administration to start enacting some resolutions and ordinances of this town that would effectively correct some of the horrible abuses. In my community, they have violated the Planned Real Estate Full Disclosure Law. I found that out early on after I bought my home. They violate the Open Meetings Act. To this day, they do not fulfill all of the requirements. They violated spending money, and some people should have gone to jail. A budget of $40,000 was set. I, as treasurer, justified it, and once they succeeded in illegally removing me, but I couldn't fight it because it would be too much money for me to bring a suit. They spent $53,000 more without ever once holding a public meeting to talk about why the overages. I'm out of time, but because I ran away, a serious problem that some of the people here, most particularly the township engineer, Alyssa Cummins, has validated in the past, and collusion between a prior administration and one of the political players. It was covered up. I have to bring it back to your attention, and I will give you suggestions of what you need to do in order to see that the planning board's dictates are followed once it's transitioned.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ma'am?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Michelle from 808 Jenny in Evergreen Woods. While we were not able to go to the January meeting, we had a little weather interrupt us. We will be going to the February meeting. And we just ask if the mayor or administrator could follow up with the new information that we'll provide after the meeting. We're going to be presenting new information to the Turnpike Authority when we're there. We will keep soldiering on because no one should have to live with this. We'll keep pushing for a wall. Our latest goal is to get the Turnpike Authority to agree to start planning a wall for us by Memorial Day. I agree it's kind of aggressive and, you know, opportune, whatever, but that's what we want to do. No matter what gets spit out of the Turnpike Authority legal PR excuse grinder, we do qualify for wall. Will continue to put their feet to the fire and cannot afford to wait for a little bit of landscaping that they will give us. We had the Turnpike's previous efforts, and they historically do the very least of what they are actually able to do. And like Oliver Twist, we will continue to unabashedly ask for more, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. President, may I ask the council, administration, or lawyer about Maple Leaf a question?
Sure.
I like the gated community part over there. I do. I really like the gated community. But does the council have the overall say to their I guess, their association, what we want to have done? Or do we can override them and tell them that that's what's going to be done and have them pay for it? Where do we have that jurisdiction at? I know that road, the through road, is our county, is our property. I've looked into it. But now I need to know, do we have the overall say to take, okay, listen, we want you guys to put up a gated community. That's the bottom line. Do we have the power to do that? I don't want, you can look into, I wasn't sure if you know that.
I'll look into it, but my reaction, if it's a public roadway, the answer would be no.
But if we own it?
Then that's a public roadway.
Okay.
We don't restrict, I mean, you have a right to travel on public roadways, so if it is a public roadway, that would actually be an impediment to gating it. If it's a private roadway, then the association would be within their authority to amend their bylaws and install a gate, do whatever they want. It's their property.
I would like that to be clarified so I have, so everybody has a good idea if the gated community could be done. You know, you could put a guard check there, but I just need that to be clarified. So if you can look into it, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
James Cancel, Maple Leaf Park. In answer to your question, those are Title 39 roads. Maple Leaf has signed them over for the police to go up and down and write tickets and all that's Title 39. They sign it over. If they didn't, it'd be private roads. And so you really don't have authority to do anything unless you bring a nuisance abatement act suit against Maple Leaf, show the damages, show the harm to the community, then you can force them, to do certain things. That's what has to be done. And if you do a joint with Jerry and his group and with myself and others, you'll slam them. You'll put them on their heels. But what I'm here to tell you tonight, what I came up here for, is Wednesday night I got a call from a lady at Maple Leaf. And they've been holding these parties in the clubhouse, Saturday nights, big to-dos, you know, parking lot full, where they come from, Lakewood, wherever they come from. And she said, Jim, I tried to call you, but I was up till 1:45 in the morning. The music was loud. And I know that I had talked with this pastor that came here and spoke, and he said he was concerned because there was drinking and children in there. You know, he was really concerned about it. So I called the police department Wednesday, I believe it was Wednesday, on my lunch half hour. And I said, I just want to let you know that I've been notified. I know that there's parties going on, and I'm concerned that there's, you know, you know the circumstances there. It's a bad situation. And they gave me the watch commander, and the watch commander said, that's a private thing, it's rented out. I said, I know, I live there. I said, but I'm concerned, you know the totality of the circumstances. He's like, I know where you live, and I don't think the noise should bother you. I said, it bothers other people, it's bad. And I said, there's little children in there. I said, can't you go in there and look around? He says, that's a parenting problem. This is what he said. I mean, Cain slew Abel, Adam and Eve. Is that a parenting problem? I mean, Jacob, his boys sold Joseph into slavery. Was that a parenting problem? So, and I just recently spoke with the chief, and he said, we have a threshold. That's our threshold. I don't understand. I've been pulled over going from the Crabs Claw from karaoke, not drinking, eating a meatball sandwich, pulled over on 35. Hey, you been drinking? No. Well, you were driving a little bit funny. Get out of the car. I do the whole battery of tests. It's happening more than once. You'll take that initiative, but you won't walk into a clubhouse just to see, hey, what's going on? Maybe shuck a little bit and find out who's renting it, who's doing this. Am I asking too much here? You know, there's the movie, The American Sniper. And Chris Kyle's dad laid a belt on the table. He's looking at his boys. He says, there's three kinds of people in this world. He says, there's sheep, there's wolves, and there's sheepdogs. Sheep need protection, wool from the wolves. There's a memorial erected to Eric Gardner down in Staten Island. The man chokehold, death, we all know it. So we've got Texas going to say Chris Kyle Day. We got a memorial to Eric Garner. Now look at the outcome of this father with his son, what it produced. I'd like to see what Eric Garner would put on his table for his children. What the outcome's going to be. Oh, his what? 30 priors, felony and assault, and you see what I'm talking about here? This threshold has to be crossed. This is not a godly threshold. This is ridiculous. Let me show you what this says. The police at all times, broken windows. The man that founded the police department from Sir Robert Peel. The police at all times should maintain a relationship with the public that gives reality to the historic tradition that the police are the public and that the public are the police. And the police are the only members of the public who are paid to give full-time attention to duties which are incumbent on every citizen in the interest of community welfare. Okay, gives reality. I don't think we have a lot of reality yet to the historic that police are the public. You know what that means? The police should act like they live in Maple Leaf. The police should act like their mother lives in Maple Leaf or the surrounding communities. That's what that means, and that the public are the police, but the public can't because they're afraid. So they need the police, and they need the council. The police are the only members of the public who are paid to give full-time attention. Is it not a duty to walk in there? You're not paid $100,000 a year to walk into a clubhouse and say, or maybe after you walk in and assess the situation and know who's doing this, what's going on, you might be able to come to the board and say, well, you know what, we kind of recommend you put a 10 o'clock limit on it, just because you know something's going to break out. It's already been shots there, and I've seen the police sitting there all day long in this unit. Not only that, you pay $600 to a prosecutor to come to court every time. He has to come. $600. I'm trying to help on all
Mr.
levels.
Kitzel, please wrap it up, okay?
I'll come back. Thank you.
Okay. I have to see if anybody else, anyone else from the public like to come up? Sir?
Stephen Brill, Evergreen Woods. About 2012, Ocean County and the Turnpike Authority were to meet with the homeowners at Evergreen Woods regarding the Interchange 91 project. Ocean County Engineering attended the meeting, but the engineer for the Turnpike Authority, but the engineer would not comment on the exit shoulder. The Turnpike representative was scheduled, but did not attend. 2012 to 2013, Ocean County Engineering was to provide an update to the Town Council regarding the Interchange 91 project. They never appeared. During this time, a property was to be acquired through eminent domain by Brick Township to facilitate the Interchange 91 reconstruction. Residents of Evergreen Woods voiced their disapproval due to the county's refusal to appear before the council. A member of the council voiced his concern that Township could be sued if the council refused to authorize the condemnation. The council refused to condemn the property. The county immediately condemned the property. I suspect that the township would not have been sued. A lawsuit might expose the real reason for the Interchange 91 segmentation. 2014, Brick Township received about $500,000 no net loss tree grant money. That money was to be used to mitigate the effects of the clear cutting of trees in the center median and shoulder by the Turnpike Authority in the Evergreen Woods area. An additional consideration in the creation of the grant was that the replacement plantings cannot take place on the Garden State Parkway right-of-way adjacent to Evergreen Woods. Mayor Ducey has stated that the grant money cannot be used on the Evergreen Woods property adjacent to the Garden State Parkway right-of-way as the township refuses to accept an easement to plant trees and their perpetual care. Evergreen Woods is located entirely alongside the approach lane to exit 91 South, the toll booth, and its exit lanes. The county and Turnpike Authority devised a plan to circumvent federal NEPA regulations by segmenting Interchange 91 to avoid building a sound-walled Evergreen Woods. The two projects are dependent on each other. The county project is needed to alleviate the backup from the toll booth. A sound study for Ocean County and the Turnpike Authority verified that a sound barrier is a necessity. I provided information about a similar situation in East Brunswick, where the town and the Turnpike Authority negotiated. As a result of that negotiation, they will jointly construct a previously denied sound barrier. It is necessary to point out that their project was not segmented. Brick Township must provide relief to the homeowners of Evergreen Woods. Brick Township must reevaluate its association with Ocean County and the Turnpike Authority. Brick Township must take the next step. Brick Township must initiate legal action against Ocean County and the Turnpike Authority. Let the courts decide whether the actions taken by Ocean County and the Turnpike Authority violated federal NEPA regulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, would you like?
Thanks. Just to let you know, just as far as the easement, the Attorney General said we couldn't even do it. We couldn't do the easement. They said any private property we cannot plant trees on. But then also the County Engineering Department is going to come to discuss the interchange at exit 91. They're either going to be here February 17th, which is our next meeting, or March 17th. They can't come to the March 3rd meeting. So hopefully February 17th, they're going to come and do a presentation beforehand.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Ma'am?
Good evening, Council. I've had the pleasure of meeting some of you a couple months ago when we had our meeting between Windcrest and Yellow Brick Road. My name is Samantha. I was the one that brought Chief Fanfarillo from Glassboro Township here. I work for the state and the state legislator, and I did a lot of research trying to find him and trying to come up with solutions to bring to you, not just relying on you to come up with an answer. what I would like to say is that coming back here a couple months later, is there any progress that has been made as far as, I know that you spoke about the gated community and the mentor program, I appreciate those options. But has there anything else been done? Have you reached back out to Alex, Chief Fanfarillo, and spoken to him? He's really an expert on this topic. He's truly phenomenal and well-spoken, and he drove 2 hours to get here to talk to a bunch of people that he doesn't know in a community that he's not familiar with, just because he's so passionate about this program. I really think the program has a lot of benefits that we can definitely enact in our community. Believe me, I work for the state. I'm fully aware that there's some large areas that not everything's going to work. But if we could break apart the package and implement certain areas, I think it'll benefit the town as a whole. I went to Brick Township High School. I'm a young person. I live at home with my family. And really, Maple Leaf Township community is scary. It's really scary. And I don't want the rest of Brick Township to become that way. I'd like to stay in Brick. I'd like to raise a family in Brick. I'd like to be here for many years. And the way that it's going, it's not going to happen. So what I would like to do for you is I would like to offer you my business cards. I have access to 120 state leaders any day of the week. If you can't get it done here, you have an option to contact me, and I will reach out to both sides of the aisles. I have Democrats, I have Republicans. I can get in touch with anybody. If it needs to be done at a state level, I'm your girl. I can definitely help you as far as that goes. As far as amendments or anything else, please contact me. I'd really like to see more progress in the future, and please don't let this fall to the side. With the warm weather coming, it's just going to get worse.
It's not. It's a major concern. It is a major concern. that
I
we're-
appreciate
You
that.
could leave your cards with Jennifer, that'd be great, and
Mr.
then we'll all
President.
get one, but public safety will have, the committee will make sure they reach out to you.
Mr. President, if I could have the
Thank
floor.
you. Yes.
Thank you so much, Samantha, for coming. And yes, and have no fear that this is not something that's getting laid to the wayside, whether or not people from Maple Leaf come. And it's also not just a problem for Maple Leaf, unfortunately. What we've learned is that this is a pervasive problem throughout Brick.
Right.
So
There's other communities as well.
Right.
It's not just Maple Leaf. It's really sad what's happening to this community, and I think that something needs to be done. And you're the right people for the job as far as this goes for right now. I mean, a change needs to be made, and if we can't get it done at a local level, it needs to be done at a state level. And as I said, I'm offering all the help that I can give you.
I'll take any help that we can get.
right.
And our chief has been working with us. This is something I think that local ordinances can help as well.
Mm-hmm.
I said this the last council meeting as well. I know that you weren't here for that, but
No,
I'm
I
happy to see your face, and I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to see you, and I'll be happy to keep in closer contact with you.
Yes, please reach out. Please feel free.
Because you're the future of Brick.
Thank you.
You're the future of our community. But it's not just Maple Leaf.
No,
So
not at all.
even though that we've had, people come from Maple Leaf, I've heard now from various communities that the problems are pervasive. So
Absolutely.
what we have to do is help everyone, not just focus on one area, but we need to help everyone.
I agree. But if possible, if you could reach back out to Chief Fanfarillo from Glassboro Township, he's, like I said, he's a fantastic resource. He's a real gentleman, and he will give you any information that you possibly need about that program.
He was wonderful for coming out. We appreciated him coming out and driving 2 hours to get there. He gave us valuable information and information that we can use in a modified form to
Right.
help our community.
As I said before, I'm fully aware that maybe the whole program won't fit into our township.
Because we are
But-
very large.
Yes, but it's been implemented in larger townships. But some things might need to change. We might need to break it apart and implement things in a different way.
Because of the density of our population.
Right.
Is a major difference.
So-
So, but that's something that is part of the solution, but there's, like I said last time, and I know you weren't here, but it's got to be a multifaceted approach
Right.
in order to help all of our community and not just target, because I've been asked by people, why are you just targeting Maple Leaf? Well, we're not. We're
No.
not. And I understand the problems in Maple Leaf are pervasive. I understand that. But it's also pervasive in other areas too. So we want to do something that could help all of Brick, not just one area.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Mr. Cancel?
James Cancel, Maple Leaf Park. Do other communities have over 70% rentals? Do other communities have as many active in drug investigations going on as Maple Leaf? I mean, I live there, sure, but this is where you cut your teeth. You don't, we want to help other, I don't see anybody else coming here about Burnt Tavern Manor or Sutton Woods or anything like that. I know they are, but they may be Waterside Gardens, but this is a community. And back there are people who surround that community. And you know, I don't get your thinking. You'll fashion a resolution, I heard today, because, well, we don't want residential because it'll tax our school system and burden the police. Yet you got a community who you're actually thinking of putting, doing something with the grounds that are beyond that I read, next to it, something very nice because it's great grounds, and you got Maple Leaf sitting there. I suggest you get on it. But I want to leave you with this. I really want to leave you with this, because a man said last meeting, he offered that, suggests we open with prayer. And you see me one way, but you don't see me. I'm more comfortable sitting at Starbucks with my Bible than I am with anything else in my journal. I'm just here because I have to be. But, you know, he asked that we open up with prayer, and I just want to say, be careful with it. As a Christian man, I'm going to tell you why. Because the Lord hears the prayer of the upright, but the prayer of the wicked is an abomination. And the wicked, defined by the Bible, is basically a lot of people who walk in the imagination of their own heart and don't care about what God says. They walk in what they think is right, not what God says is right. And the constraints of this society right now, as I said earlier, the courts are being packed with judges who want to go for individual rights over community values. It's happening all the time. Hey, a man has a machete in New York, kills some people, but he wasn't quite arrested just right. There's a $3 million settlement. Insane stuff. It's up to you to stop the insanity. Here, in Brick, because we have a little bit of it. Job 34, 6, 17. Wouldst thou find fault with him whose justice is so deep? A lot of people find fault with God. That can't be right. Even though you destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, you made a mistake. Those people, that was an immutable thing. They had no choice. He it is that says traitor to a crowned king and find princes guilty of rebellion. Nothing cares he for royalty, dignity, nor takes the oppressor's part against the friendless. I think we're doing a little bit of that. At least society is. And you know, those four men that killed that lawyer in front of his wife at the Short Hills Mall, you know where they found him? Over in Mutton. They were on probation, lived in Irvington or Newark. They found him at Mama's house hiding out. Probably find some of that in Maple Leaf. Psalm 101. I will sing of mercy and judgment unto thee, Lord. I will sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. I shall not. A froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Whoso privily slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath a high look and a proud heart. My eyes shall be upon the faithful land, and they may dwell with me that walketh in a perfect way. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all wicked doers from the city of the Lord. A little bit hard from David, who actually ended up being from the lineage of Jesus Christ, the son of David, Christ. And I want to say this. I appreciate some people on this council very much, because when the Bible talks about a noble heart, you know what a noble heart is? It's said in Acts. It says the Bereans came and listened to Paul preaching, and that those were a noble heart. Searched the scriptures to see if they were so. You have a noble heart, Andrea. You go to broken windows, you look, you check it out, you're listening, and you go and you're checking. I think you have a noble heart. You went and knocked on doors and drove through the neighborhood. I can't speak for anybody else. I think you might. But we need more of a noble heart. We need to check things out. The mayor has got an office right down. Drive through. All of you drive through. You're going to see the same thing they said. Who's got a noble heart to see if these things are so? Be careful when Jesus Christ is Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and every knee shall bow and every tongue confess. If you can't uphold that, don't offer up a prayer in this chamber. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? What? No one else? Seeing that, I'm going to close. Sir, did you want to come back up? Come up. Yeah. You didn't come back up. Come up. Sorry.
My name is John O'Rourke, 468 Westlake Drive in, obviously, Brick Township. At the January 20th meeting, I'm the one who asked for a resolution to have a prayer at the beginning of the council meetings. And I want to thank President Mumolo for giving me a call today. I know the answer to what he said the council is going to do, but as you make your closing remarks, I'd like it if you feel in any way to do so. If any of you members could make your opinion as to why you think that we should or should not have a prayer at the beginning of the meetings. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing that, I'm closed public. I'll open up to our, first I'd like to have the our Chief Berquist come up, please, to speak.
I'm not sure what you wanted me to comment on, Mr. President, but I think it's important that I comment on Mr. Cancell's description of the event at Maple Leaf Park. I'm not personally familiar with it. I've not been briefed on it, but just listening to Mr. Cancell's description, it was a private party on private property where we had one complaint, and it was a third-party complaint. It would be highly inappropriate for us to go walking into a private party and private property absent a legitimate reason to do so. We do monitor those things. I'm not going to get into the tactics that we use, but we're monitoring just about everything that goes on Maple Leaf Park on a regular basis. So,
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Administration?
I have nothing further, thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you. I've been attending a number of the DARE graduations around town. The DARE program is a great program. It's our 5th graders. It's drug, alcohol awareness, and education, and it teaches the kids to make, teaches kids the information so that they can make the right choices when it comes to tobacco, alcohol, and drugs, as well as making other decisions in their life. It's a real good program. It's run by Officer Tara and Officer John, with the help of obviously of all of our police department and also the Board of Education for allowing it in the schools. And it really gives the kids a lot of skills. They may or may not need to use those in 5th grade, but definitely as they get older, they're going to have the time where they're going to have to make tough decisions. And this DARE program really adds a lot to let them know about the dangers of alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. So I was able to attend the Emma Havens, the Osborneville, and the Lanes Mill. I couldn't go to the vets, but we did have some council members who were able to appear for me, and I appreciate that. With each one of the graduations are somewhat different. Sometimes they're they're singing songs like the Lanes Mill. They made some original songs of like current day music, but changed the words around to make it to make it in tune with the DARE DARE program. And the other schools, I mean, every school does it a little different and makes it interesting to go to. I also attended the Family Fun Night at Drum Point Elementary School last Friday night. I was a celebrity reader, and we had a bunch of kids who were there. Dr. Uzinski followed me up, and it was a beach theme. So they had me sitting in an Adirondack chair with a big umbrella behind me, and they had beach blankets in front of me where all the kids sat, and I read a book about the ocean, and I learned what an anemone was, which is, it's A-N-E-M-O-N-E, and it's the type of seaweed. So I had no idea what that was, and I came across that word in the book, and I had a bunch of kids sitting in front of me, and I looked at it, and I knew it had a rhyme with 3 because it was a rhyming book, so I'm like, anemone. And the teacher came up afterwards, she goes, you don't know what that is, what, do you? And I said, no. She goes, you said it right, surprisingly. So I learned a new word at Family Fun Night. Congratulations to St. Dominic's School, their 50-year celebration. They're celebrating it the entire year. I did go to one of their first events this past week, where they had all the kids decorated the cafeteria tables as to different decades since the opening of the school. So they had 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And they had the theme, so there was a surfboard theme, which was like the Beach Boys from the 60s, a lot of peace signs for the 60s, video games, Pac-Man, stuff like that for the 80s, and they had a rosary table. The rosary was made out of cupcakes, which was pretty good, and I was able to see the winning tables for the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. The Mayor's Night In had to be canceled because of the snow we've had, which I'll touch on in a bit. So the next one is Tuesday, February 24th. It starts at 6 o'clock right across the hall in the meeting room, and we'll have our department heads there. So again, this is where you can come speak with me if you have any problems with the town, or if you want to speak to me and say whatever's great with the town, or just have a question about the town. If you don't need to speak with me, you don't have to. You can go directly to a department head so as to save time. So if you have a question about a building permit, you can go right to Dan Newman. If you have a question about recreation, go right to Dan Santinello, and so forth. And a lot of the department heads, the police chief will be there as well. That'll be at 6 o'clock on February 24th. And then lastly, I just wanted to talk about the snowstorm. We had the big snowstorm. It was obviously last Monday into Tuesday. We had the plows out on the road. The way we work it, just so everybody gets an idea, we send the plows out once there's 4 inches of snow down on the ground. That's the first time the plows went out. So in that particular storm, it was 2 a.m. when we finally hit 4 inches. And so what happens is the plows go out right when it hits 4 inches. So for example, if they go down, Kelly Lynn Lane, if they go down Kelly Lynn Lane at 2 o'clock in the morning when it's 4 inches, well, the snow obviously continued to fall. And by the time 10 o'clock in the morning came and people were waking up because they knew they had the day off, there was falling down at 1 to 2 inches again. So you probably had like maybe another 5 inches of snow on your street, so it looked like they weren't plowed. But in reality, it had been plowed starting at 2 a.m. A normal storm, it takes about 15 hours, is the average, to plow all of our streets. We have 1,762 streets in town, and it's a little bit over 700 miles worth of streets that have to be plowed. So it does take time. This particular storm, we had the most snow in all of New Jersey, which is a good thing, because we cleared our streets very quickly. We had over 10 inches. We had the most snow in New Jersey. Luckily, we didn't have the 24 plus that they were predicting, but we got it done in 13 hours, and that's because of the great DPW workers we have out there. The police were out there keeping us safe. A lot of the residents stayed off the road. I went out at 9 o'clock to get a pizza, and there was really nobody on the road besides police officers. I saw a lot of police officers out there keeping everybody safe, and it was great because we had a meeting on Sunday long before the snow was starting. It included the police, the DPW, our fire, our EMS, all working in conjunction through the leadership of Chief Berquist. And we had substations basically set up around town. In case of an emergency, there was going to be a plow to get to somebody's house with an ambulance following. So if somebody had to get to a hospital, they could get the plow down the street, get somebody in the ambulance, get them to the hospital as soon as they could, following the plow, which is a great system. Luckily, we didn't really have to implement it because we didn't have as much snow, but we were ready to go if we needed to. We also had a fire over at our housing authority down the street, and at the Chambers Bridge residence, and there was a kitchen fire, and a kitchen fire caught, and sprinkler systems went off, and they worked perfectly. They saved some other apartments from being damaged. They did have some water damage, obviously, because the sprinklers went off, and the fire company got there quickly, got the thing put out. They had to evacuate residents because unfortunately we had Dan Newman of our staff he was out in the middle of the storm out there trying to look at these apartments to see if these people can move back in. There was a few of them were unable to. They had 10 of them were displaced from their homes, and they weren't able to get back in. Mr. Newman was able to clear some of the houses for people to get back into. But Joe Gilson was out there. Joanne Bergen was out there. It's unfortunate these people had to find a place to stay. The township, the plan for the Chambersbridge residents was to call the Red Cross. The Red Cross refused to come out because the weather was so bad, which left them in the hands of our township employees, who all did it, and a representative of the ARC, who was Laura, who was here earlier. She was here earlier. I probably should have mentioned it when she was here. And the ARC, even though they were there, they got their clients placed right away, but there were still 5 people who were not ARC clients who had nowhere to go. There was no Red Cross coming, and that was the plan that was over there. And with the help of Joe Gilson and Joanne and Laura from the ARC, they ended up getting them into a hotel that night and keeping them safe. So I want to give out a big thank you to the DPW, to the police, to all the monitors who are out there. The monitors actually go out and watch the contractors, make sure they're plowing the roads they're supposed to be plowing, to our fire departments and our EMS services. Everybody did a great job, and that was a huge storm. I mean, everybody's thinking, oh, what happened? It didn't even snow, but we had over 10 inches. That's a big storm. That's not a small storm. We didn't get the 24, but we got the 10 plus. And we got it done in 13 hours, and really great job. And with this last one with the ice, sorry. With the ice over the last couple of days, as everybody probably knows, we were out salting all night the night before last and expecting some snow, and what happened is we got pouring rain. Pouring rain, of course, takes that brine solution and wipes it all off the road, and then around 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock, it got freezing cold temperatures. The salt was gone because it was washed away, and it was wet because it was pouring rain, so everything froze. And then overnight, what happens with the solution and with salt, it really only warms up the roadway 10 to 15 degrees. So what happened last night, we were at 10 degrees laying down salt, but it was only bringing the temperature up to about 25, which obviously everybody knows is still below freezing, so it's not melting anything. So that's what happens with ice. When the temperature is only brought up by the solution and by salt about 10 to 15 degrees. So if it's colder than that, it's really not going to do any good until the sun comes out. It warms up a little bit, and everybody saw by like about 8:30, 9 o'clock today, the salt was working and the actual, the ice was melting because it was warming up. So it was a tough one. It might have even been tougher than the big 10 inches of snow was the ice, just because of the situation and the fact that it was so cold that salt doesn't work once it gets down to 10 degrees. So I just want to still thank the DPW. They were out there until this afternoon, still salting the roads, and it's going to be cold again tonight. So everybody stay home if you can and drive home safely, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe we should do something about that groundhog, too, because I don't think we had we got to get our own Bricktown groundhog. Counselor? Would you?
Nothing to report this evening.
Thank you. Madam Secretary?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you very much. Very shortly, to our new police sergeant that was sworn in tonight, congratulations. I wish him the very best of luck, to him and his family, of course. To Audrey, being an artist, it takes talent, so congratulations to her. Also to CBBG recipients, thank you for all that you do, and all the volunteers that help throughout all those organizations. Please keep it up, and thank you very, very much. This one's important regarding the snow. Do yourself a favor, do your neighbor a favor, and please do me a favor. If your fire hydrant is covered, uncover it, please. I know the snow, I know our DPW workers work extremely hard, and they happen to push the snow. Some of the outside, we have outside companies, outside agencies that do it. So, they run the lines up along the sidewalk, and they cover up the hydrants. So take an extra 5 minutes, get your neighbors together. Don't do it by yourself. I don't want nobody getting hurt, but do uncover the hydrants. It does make a difference of time, and time is very important when there's a fire. Please continue to drive safely out there. I got a cold, and it's bothering me. So be safe, stay warm, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate our retirees from the police department and thank them for their service, and also congratulate Sergeant Jensen and his family. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone enjoy a promotion quite so much as his twins. They were a joy to watch. Sunday morning, Councilman Fosman, the mayor, and I attended the Brick Dragon American Youth Football and cheer breakfast. I'd like to congratulate the athletes, the coaches, and the parents on a great season. And I was particularly impressed with the number of scholar athletes that they honored at this breakfast. It's really nice to see the organizations are promoting strong academics in addition to athleticism. The Recreation Department is putting the finishing touches on the 2015 Cultural Arts Series. There will be 3 shows at the Civic Plaza, 2 shows at Traders Cove Marina Park, and some additional performances at the Bob Anstad Cultural Arts Center in partnership with Guild Theater Works. As soon as everything is tweaked and final, the brochure will be out, and I'll keep you posted on that. On Friday night, we had our first BMAC open mic night at Civic Plaza from 7 to 9:30. It went very well. I'd like to thank the Recreation Department for their help, and the BMAC volunteers, especially Mindy Murray, who did a lot of legwork getting the word out, getting some snacks donated for the kids. And a huge, huge shout out to the sound engineering department at the Ocean County Votech Performing Arts School. They really pulled through for us, brought a PA system, kids to perform. Overall, we had over 40 students attended. We have 14 performers, and we're looking forward to growing this program to give our young people a safe, productive place to go on Friday night. The next one will be Friday, February 27th from 7 to 9:30 at the Civic Plaza for children in grades 6 and up, and it's free. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman?
Hello. I don't have much to say this evening, except I do want to recognize again the Community Development Block Grant recipients. I think it's tremendous that we can help them in any way we can, although the amounts do seem low, $1,000 here, $3,000 there. It does go so far in their budget to help people from all walks of life, in our community especially. And as the mayor was going through the list, the old adage came into my head, so much to do, so little time. We all get the little postcards in the mail, please donate your time, maybe a few bucks. But if everyone in this room could pick out a charity from that list or something else that they enjoy or feel for, think of how much your $5 or a few hours of your time would go to help people in your community, how much that your few hours or few bucks means to them that you don't even realize. So if you have any interest in that, you can reach out to our council secretary, Jen, or to our administrator, and we can get you some more information about a few of those organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the police promotions for Mr. Jensen. I know his family for years. When I had my business, I used to service their house for a long time. And Audrey Lindstrom used to be another client of mine. And I used to go to her house, and she has a studio in her attic. It's very unique. And 10 years ago, I seen all her pictures. It was very exciting. And I'm glad she got this award. She deserves this. Well, very good artist. And Mayor, you took a lot of my thunder. There's only one thing I have to add to that. On that there, we did receive 600 tons of salt was delivered today, so that on the average, I don't think you said this, Mayor, that it takes 100 tons of salt to do the town one time. So we have enough for the next 6 more times. Let's see what else I got here.
That we hope to not need.
Yes, I hope not.
That's a lot of those Morton containers.
I just want to say the Department of Public Works did a great job with the snow and ice. And like the mayor, I forget that page is gone, Mayor, thank you. And I did attend the Lanes Mill Dare graduation. Mayor and Andrea was there. And that was, presentation is very unique. Each school, like the mayor said, is different. And On January 21st, the Herbertsville Firehouse had their installation dinner of their officers, and that was well attended by mayor and council. January 29th, the VFW had a Narcan presentation. For anybody who has heroin, has an overdose, they showed you how to do the Narcan. I did get a kit. I did stay for the presentation to learn how to use it. I do have a kit just in case, and it was very informative and extremely informative, and it gained some serious insight on how to fight this disease. It's actually a disease, this is. And I urge anyone who knows anyone who's going through this to attend a seminar that's going around through the area. February 1st was the Brick Dragons, like Andrea said. Mayor and Andrea and I attended it. It was I think it was like 4 hours. That was a long day there. And for the cheerleaders, the 13-year-old cheerleaders and 8th grade junior midgets. February 2nd, we had the MUA reorg meeting. The mayor, Council President Momolo, and BA Joanne attended. On the Maple Leaf, our committee meets tomorrow, so it's not before the meeting, it's a little after, so we have to wait another 2 weeks before anything goes in the presentation. I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you,
Oh,
Mr.
sorry,
President.
sorry.
Oh,
I have
no,
to
it's
say this
over.
here.
It's over.
Sorry.
Sorry, time's up.
I always do that. Tom Nerney from the American Brick American League. They had a gentleman that has a paving company. Anchor Stone donated some pavers there, and they did pavers in a nice area there. And the guy that installed it was Jeff Roy Landscaping. He did all the pavers, no charge at all. That's a nice community effort. He just did it years ago. His son used to play there, so he felt like he was giving something back to the community. And I thank him for doing that for us. That's all. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm done.
Councilwoman.
Wait.
This time I'm cutting you off. Congratulations to the now Sergeant Jensen. It is a credit to our Brick Police Force, how well he's done, and a credit to our Chief Berquist, who guides our men and women of our Brick Police in such a heartfelt way, following the law and making sure that we're all safe and secure. And he's always open to new ideas of how to keep and make Brick better. I want to thank all of the people who came out to our meeting. Thank you, Samantha, for coming out. I'm always happy to see you and talk to you. I did want to address the gentleman who wanted to know about how council people felt about prayer. What I can say is our moment of silence is for prayer or anything else that any of our citizens want it to be for. Personally, I don't think that it's fair to impose on other people what my beliefs or your beliefs or anyone else's beliefs are, but that moment of silence is for you to pray or do whatever you're called to do before the meeting, even if it's just hoping that we answer the question that you're going to present. So I hope that answers your question. All of the people who came out from Maple Leaf, I want to thank. Every time that we have people come out from different communities, it helps us broaden our horizons and refocus our energies. So it's not a waste. These people spend hours waiting to get their opportunity to go to the podium and speak their piece, as do the people from Evergreen Woods as well. So I think that everyone should appreciate the comments that are made by different communities, but I know a lot of people can't come out to these meetings because they work, have families, don't have sitters. And so those people have reached out to various council members with various issues, which is why I say that we have to focus on not just Maple Leaf, but also our other communities in Brick, because they have the same problems and want the same solutions. So we can't just look at one isolated community, just like we can't have one set prayer. We need to include everybody. With that, I want to remind everyone, please look out for your elderly neighbors. It is bitterly cold. Please ask them if they need grocery shopping done for them. Please take advantage of our Meals for Wheels program. Please take advantage of all of our charities that will help our senior citizens brave this winter, which unfortunately, according to the groundhog, is going to be another 6 more weeks. I don't know who could take it. I can't. But with that, have a safe evening. I look forward to seeing anyone who'd want to speak to me at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Vice President?
Thank you. I'm going to do my usual buy-in brick push. We have, since our last meeting, DeSanto Electric has joined, and I would like to encourage any businesses in town that are on the fence or have been thinking about joining to please do so now. We are planning a very big advertising push for all of the businesses that are part of the program, and we don't want you to miss out on anything by not joining the program now. We have also noticed that since we've given out a lot of cards, not everybody has signed up online. So if you need to figure out how to sign back up, you can go to our Buy and Brick page, which is on the top of our township website, and sign up there. Or if you don't want to go to the township website, or if you want to talk to someone, you can talk to Keith in administration. He'll be able to answer any questions that you may have. I'd like to thank the clerk's office and the Parks Department. A couple Sundays ago, you guys ran your rabies clinic, and you did a great job from what I've been hearing from everybody, and everybody always, it's a service that we do that we are very, very happy to do for our residents, and I want to thank Lynette and her crew for always doing a really great job. And who donated the hot chocolate and stuff?
That was the Trap, Neuter, and Release program.
Thank you to them also, Councilwoman Contraro.
And just so that everyone knows, we were supposed to have a TNR meeting on January 26th. It was the snow day. It has now been rescheduled to February 23rd at 7:00 p.m.
Thank you. And I just want to echo the sentiments about DPW, Parks, Police, Chief. Everybody did a great job with the snow. We're looking to possibly get another storm coming our way, so we hope it doesn't, but in case, please try not to park your vehicles on the streets so we can have our plows do curb to curb. I know it was a really great help this last time around, and if you don't have to go out for pizza or whatever, please stay off the roads if the plows are coming through and they're salting. That's all I have this evening.
Plows were out at 2 a.m. It was 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. No snow.
First, I'd like to congratulate the police retirees, also Sergeant Joshua Jensen and Audrey Lindstrom. Everybody did a great job. Congratulations. Recently, we went to the Herbertsville Fire Company installation dinner. Congrats to all the newly installed officers. Again, the organizations, the Community Development Block Grant, all the organizations, a key part to this community and keeping it running smooth and helping people that need help in the community. Great job to them and all their volunteers. The DPW, the police, the fire department, awesome job on that snowstorm and the fire, even though I wasn't here, but I was in touch. With regards to the prayer, Mariana, Councilwoman Hunterero answered the question. We are going to maintain a moment of silence so that people can reflect however they wish at that moment of silence. That's how that will be run this year. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. Happy Valentine's Day. And our next meeting is Tuesday, February 17th, 7 p.m. Like a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.